Hey everyone, it's Kelly G in the Craftique Studio. Welcome in. Today I am beyond excited to show you the new Platinum Scout. This little baby packs quite a punch. I love to share with you the contents of the box and how it works. So please join me in the Craftique Studio to learn more. Here she is, the Platinum Scout. And yes, I said she. She is a girl and she is small but mighty. So this is the latest cutting machine that came from the Spellbinders company. And they have a family of these machines. And this is the little bitty baby. I have the Mama, which is the Platinum 6. And as you can see here, she has a 6-inch wide cutting platform. And the little baby, 6.5-inch rather, the little baby, as you can see here, Scout, and she cute. She has a 3.5-inch wide cutting plate bed. So this gives you an idea of kind of like the size comparison, and it's so small. Yet it's portable, it's easy to take with you on the road. It's easy if you have a cluttered or a large craft space. And if you're cutting a lot of little pieces, you will be able to get most of your dies cut through this little baby right here. Now, the difference also is that with the Platinum 6, it has a handle because it is a much heavier and larger machine. This one doesn't need a handle. You could just pick her up right in your own 2 hands and makes it easy to transport. So let me put this to the side. The other thing about the Platinum 6 is that when you get it, you do have to assemble it and attach the handle, which is not a big deal, but it's just an extra step. This one comes in the box already assembled. So all you have to do is pull her out and get started. So in order to use it, you just situate it down on a flat surface. I usually like to use a glass mat or my desktop, something that the suction will hold on to, because when you open it up, these little suction pieces will actually grip and hold on to your surface. So it makes it easier for you to use it. So you just have to open up her little side pieces here. And now you can see, you know, it's gripped to the table. It's not necessarily, you know, hard and fast, but the stoppers help it to keep from slipping around. You will get this machine, obviously, in the box, and also you get everything you need to get started, except for paper. So let me put this to the side and show you. You will get a universal cutting plate system. This is a huge value, friends, because usually you just get like the base and then like maybe 2 plates to do basic cutting with paper. But with this baby, you get everything you need, not only to cut paper, but to cut with, to emboss, to do all kinds of other things as well. So as you can see here, this is the base and this is letter A. And as you can see here too, it gives you a guide to cutting or embossing with basic shapes. So if you even forget how to make your sandwich, as you will, you can actually refer to this guide and that will help you. And if you're not familiar with this, and if this is your first time in the die cutting machine world, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the best thing to get started. A sandwich is basically how you would layer the plates together with your paper and your cutting die in order to get the best result, okay? And I'll show you some examples of that as we move forward. So not only will you get A, which is your platform base that you have on the bottom, as you can see, it's nice and thick and solid. You'll get B, which is the platform top. You'll get 2 C's, which are cutting plates, and C is for cutting plate. And as you can see, I've been playing already. And if you are curious, you're going to see a little bit more of that later, but it gives you a little hint about something that's coming down the pike. D is the adapter plate, and you might have to use that to get a little bit more thickness to your sandwich, like if you're using a 3D embossing folder, and we'll talk about that in a moment. E is your embossing mat, which is a flimsy, plasticky, silicone-y type of piece. And F is a shim, and a shim is only something that you put in to your sandwich if you need just a little bit more height to it in order for it to cut through the cutting plates more effectively and cleanly. You will also get, not only do you get the plates and you get the machine, but they even give you something to get started with this as well. Now, I have to tell you that I am using the white Platinum Scout. And Spellbinders is so cute. They came up with a couple of different versions of this little baby. In the store, we are selling the exclusive retailers blue. And it's a gorgeous shimmery blue. So gorgeous. In fact, mine hasn't come in yet. I got one in for a customer. I already shipped that out because I wanted to make sure she got it quickly. But the rest of them are coming. So it's going to be like a light blue. I'll show you a picture at the end or leave it somewhere so that you'll be able to see what it looks like. But it's beautiful and it has like a little floral design on it as well. So those you can only get from special retailers like Craftique. You can always get the white one from wherever. And I'll have some a link to where you can pre-order yours because the whites are in sold out mode and they're being reordered. So their next, I think the next opportunity to reorder is early July. So if you get in now and reserve your Scout, you'll have it when the next batch comes out of the warehouse. All right, so with each of these sets, you will get something different. So with the White Scout, you're going to get this beautiful floral 3D embossing folder. And you will also get, where did I put it? This beautiful set, which says Best Wishes, and it has a lot of really pretty flowers, centers, and leaves. So we're going to be using this today along with the embossing folder so you can get a chance to see what can be made. So right out the gate, all you need is some paper and you're ready to play. And I advise you to play with it when you first get it, just kind of getting the feel of it because it is a different machine. It's a little smaller. It's the biggest cutting space for a machine its size, but there still have to be some kinks worked out when you first use it and just to get used to it. So I would recommend just grabbing some paper and just having some fun. Now, you may notice that this is a very long embossing folder as well as these plates. They're very long. This is because these are 3x5 by 9-inch cutting plates. And let me tell you, that is awesome because you can use it for so many things. I mean, think about a bunch of these things that you want to die cut and you can just lay them down and cut a whole bunch of stuff at one time. But you can also use something like this if you wanted to use the whole piece of paper and cut a beautiful slimline card. You can cut like a bookmark out of this as well. There's so many options that you can get out of something this long. So this is another really cool thing about this. It might be small and narrow, but you get a lot of length, which can give you a lot of cutting space in one easy punch, right? So what I'm going to do, forgot to tell you, that also included in the box is a manual, a user guide that gives you the basic information about what comes in the box. Tells you how to just open it and get started, which is so easy as you saw. And then it gives you a rundown over all the plates and it shows you some different sandwiches that you can make. So this sheet is a very handy guide. It tells you how to emboss a cut shape, how to build a cutting die sandwich, how to build a standard embossing folder sandwich, and then a 3D embossing folder sandwich because they're quite different. So that's really cool. And then it tells you about how to clean it if you need to and any troubleshooting that is necessary. The last thing, and one of the more important things, is that you want to register your machine. So Spellbinders offers a limited 1-year warranty on the Scout, and it's warranted to be free of defects in workmanship and materials. So they'll repair or replace it if it's defective without charge to you if you have this proof of purchase. So go in, take the moment to register your machine and you won't regret it. So if nothing happens, great. But if something does, you'll have this to protect you. Okay, so those are all the things that you're going to get in your box. And again, if you have the blue baby, you're going to get a different, more exclusive embossing folder as well as the dies. So something that you can't find anywhere else, which is really, really sweet. So let's get started and cut something. The fun thing about this is that I just went shopping in my scrap bin and just pulled out a whole bunch of different papers. I got a card base, I got a card base, and then I got an A2 card panel, right? Or no, base, sorry. And this is the panel, sorry, to go on top. And I cut that down a little bit smaller, as you can see, just in case I wanted to layer it that way. I also got a couple of different pieces of scraps from different projects that I've done in the past. I try to find things that would resemble colors of flowers or something that I would use, and that kind of all work together with the same type of intensity. So I found, you know, a bunch of these things. And again, this is the reason why you don't want to throw away some of these scraps, right? Because look at this space here. That's big enough to cut out a bunch of these flowers, right? Now, I'm not saying to become a hoarder of sorts, but this is a nice chunk of piece of paper. And maybe what you want to do is after you finish a project and you have these pieces of scrap left over, you just instantly cut these out and then just save them for another project, right? So that's another idea of what you can do. And if you have the handy dandy craft stacks by Spellbinders, you can actually cut your things. I have something here that I've been working on, and store them inside one of these really cool trays, and then just have them ready for whenever you're ready to use them. There's a link in the description section which will take you to a shopping list of all the stuff that we're using here today and some suggested items so that you'd be able to see the different options available for craft stacks. All right, so I'm going to just start having fun cutting again. And like I mentioned before, if you don't remember how to cut or how to make a sandwich and you're just new to this, don't worry. There is a guide here that will walk you through everything, so you don't have to think about it. So I'm going to open this up and just play. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. When you are using this for the first time, you may experience a little bit of noise and you might hear some crackling, okay? You're not breaking the machine. That's just basically the machine pressing the plates down onto the paper and then pressing the image or cutting the image out, okay? So don't be too nervous if you hear a little crack when you're turning the handle. That is normal. And then that's what makes these different you know, impressions on the cutting plates. And this is supposed to happen as well. So when you see all these impressions, don't get nervous. That's supposed to happen. And you're going to have some very lovingly cut plates. Here's some of my plate from the 6th. This is like horrendous, right? But this is what happens over time, and this is perfectly normal, okay? So I'm going to make a sandwich again, and I'm going to cut out some flowers. I'm going to cut out the best wishes and the leaves. I'm going to cut out everything at one time, actually, so I can show you how easy it is just to cut something simply and make a card. All right. So in order to use the plates, I need to build a cutting die sandwich, which means I'll start with a platform base on the bottom, which is A, and then the platform top next, which is B. Okay. Then I'm going to add the cutting plate, which is C, the bottom cutting plate. Then the paper, the cutting die, and then the top plate, okay, which is the other C. Now, what I would recommend, and I've heard this countless times and still sometimes manage to mess it up, but what you want to do is make sure that you kind of keep one plate clear. And I kind of messed up and have some etching on this one. It doesn't matter. Some people like to wear them all down evenly, but this helps you to be able to see through the plate a little bit better, because if you look at this one, I mean, it's kind of hard to see right through this, right? But it's easier to see through something that hasn't been cut up as much, all right? So basically, what I'm going to do is take that base, C, and, oh, my B, sorry. Let's see. I'm going to, and what I also recommend is that you tape down the plate to the paper before you put it on your plates, okay? I like to use the best tape ever. I believe it's yellow from Spellbinders. We also have a purple tape. A low tack tape is basically what will do it. Washi tape, if you have a design that you don't really care about, you can use that as well. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna take some scissors here and cut off the scraps I'm going to use. So I have this one, and I'll cut, let's see, I'll make these flowers out of this design. And the centers, I want them to be like a golden yellow. So I only need a little sliver of this. I love when I can use up my scraps and not waste paper. So fun. And you can just make a bunch of these flowers and then just go crazy with designing something with them, right? The leaf, like this color. So I'll move that off there and tape that down. This tape can be used over and over again. It's shameless how I have this whole bunch of tape on the side of my desk. I'll use this color to offset that color for the larger flower. I think that would be pretty. And then you can alternate too, and then cut like the big flower here and then some of the small ones with this color too, but we're just gonna keep it simple for the purposes of demonstration today. So I got those. You don't want to, if you can help it, you don't want to put the cutting plate too far to the edge. That way you can get a quicker and easier cut. Doesn't mean that you can't, but as a rule of thumb, I like to keep it closer to the center. And then this last one, I wanted to do it in that gray. Where did that gray go? Oh wait, no. So I had this envelope that someone gave me with a card, and I mean, I couldn't throw it away. And it's like this really pretty paper that I could use either this side of or this side of. So I thought, well, why not use this with this background and see what it comes out looking like. So this is going to be an experiment. I might not like it, but I have a backup plan to use this pretty gray. But I just wanted to see what it would look like if I use the gold. So I'm going to try it. So we need that much. And take that down. All right. So you want to have them face down. And then when the machine cuts, it's going to press this very hard onto the paper to cut it out. And then the image is going to be like etched into the bottom plate. So we're going to put C on top, right? And we should be done. All right. So we'll bring the sandwich over here. And then the reason why I taped them, obviously, is that I'm moving things around so that I don't have to worry about the paper slipping off of the die. Okay. Now I'm going to bring my baby over. And if you notice here, this is where the sandwich is going to go. And when you turn the crank, it's going to roll the rollers and apply the pressure as it goes through the machine and then makes the cut. All right. So we're going to start feeding it up. Okay. And then you'll see once it starts to catch, you'll see the handle start to move. And that's when you know that you're ready. Now, when you first use this machine, I would recommend that you give it a little bit more TLC, because you want to get the machine used to grinding through. These plates are very, very, very brand new, and they just need to be broken in a little bit, right? So when you first use the machine, if the plates start to wiggle a little bit and you have to put a little effort into keeping them straight, or if you hear a little bit more crackling than you're used to, that is normal, okay? So just give it a couple of chances to cut some things, practice with it, play with it, and you'll see that it becomes so much easier. So when I first used it, I was a little nervous, I have to admit. I thought something was wrong, but I decided to keep going and use it a little bit more, and now it's working better. So you're going to start to feed it in a little bit. Like I said, the handle will start to move. That's where you know some of it's inside. And now we're going to start to turn the crank. Now, usually I just have my hand here to brace it as I go through. But again, brand new machine. So I want to feed it in a little bit just to make sure everything works the way it should. And you have to give it a little resistance, okay? So I pushed it in. Now I'm going to hold on to it and see how that started to move a little bit and shimmy. It's okay. I'm going to put my thigh here. You might not be able to see that. And hold it down, okay? And start to feed it through. And now it's fine. I want you to hear the crack. Okay, not so bad, okay? Let's see how it turned out. Wow, 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 wow. Cuts so easily like butter. So pretty. All right, let's see what we got here. This is when you want to get that craft stack out so that you don't lose all these little pieces that come out. And then you'll have a couple of pieces inside the loops of the letters, and I just flick them. They come right on out. And you just want to loosen things up very carefully just so that you don't break it or tear anything. because they're delicate cuts. Look at that. I think I like that. Kind of fun. And as you can see here, it left the imprints for those flowers, right? So there's that one big one and the 3 small that we just cut. So I'll put that here. Let's see what else we have. We have the pink. That's pretty. I like that color. Spellbinders has a two-in-one. I think I'm going to order some if people are interested, but you can see how you have that etched detail there. That's something that Spellbinders is known for. When you cut their things out, you get a lot of etched detail at the same time. So it just takes up the quality a notch or two. All right, this one has little tiny pieces. So I'm going to take the tape out over the craft stack so they can just fall right in. There's 1, there's 2, and then these 2 sat here on the cutting plate. So I'll just bring them over. So we have the 4 little centers, right? And as you can see, this center fits right inside that flower. See how it's coming together? I forgot to mention you need glue too. Shouldn't assume that you would know that. Just to glue all these pieces together that you die cut when you make these designs. Or like glue dots or different things. Some type of adhesive. So that goes there. This paper piecing is like a puzzle and it's so much fun to do. And then the last one would go right here. So cute. And then I could put the little centers on. Now all these leaves actually just came out right here. And I can just put them wherever in my finished design. Okay, so there you have it. So easy to put together. And that was quick, right? We were able to cut all those pieces out in one go. Okay, so let me clean this up and then I'll show you how we would use the embossing folder. Okay, I decided to show off a little bit, and I'm actually going to cut my panel into 3.5 by 9 to completely fill this cutting plate. Now I might not use all of it, but I just wanted to show you how this will come out. Now I like embossing on white for some reason. It just looks really classy when you have the white on white and you just have that imprinted design. You can always, of course, use colored cardstock to get a better, contrast. You can use some ink blending and take an ink, get some ink in a little brush and just brush in a little bit of color, some soft color. You can spray some metallic color. So many things you can do to add some color to it. But I'm just going to show you how this basically works. So this is a 3D embossing folder, and if you open it and feel on both sides, you have a deep impression on both. One is the raised side and one is the like debossed side, so to speak. But when you get the paper out, you're going to see a 3-dimensional design, which gives it so much more dimension and interest, and it just makes it pop off the paper. Okay, so let's go back to our handy dandy guide to figure out how to put this together. So I want to use the handy dandy guide on the B platform top, and it says how to build a 3D embossing folder sandwich. So you're going to have your platform base at the bottom. Then you're going to have your embossing folder with paper inside in the middle. This one's a simpler sandwich. So I'm just going to line this up here. It's a little bit wider than the paper, which is fine. I mean, the paper's a little bit wider than the folder, which is fine. And then I'm going to put on top the adapter plate, which is D. Okay, so get a chance to use D, the adapter plate. Okay, now, just so you know, this is a Spellbinders embossing folder and a Spellbinders machine. So obviously the sandwich will work very well. But if you have other brands that may be a little thinner or different quality, just play around with it and just see what happens. Like if it's too thin, add the shim to get a little bit more rise out of it. But if it's a 3D embossing folder, usually it's going to be pretty thick. So this should work. All right, so we have our sandwich. And again, one thing I forgot to do. Very important. Whew. I haven't done this, I haven't been doing this before, but once I started doing it, I loved it. So one thing to help get a better impression on the paper is to spritz it with a little water, okay? This paper is not super thick. It's maybe about 80 pound, like more of the layering weight instead of the heavy weight. So what I'm going to do is use Spellbinders Mister. This Mighty Mister spray bottle is like the same quality that you would find in like one of those high-end salons, right? So as you can see, it just needs one little push and it gives you a nice spritz, like a general direction spritz. Now I haven't used this yet. I put water in it, so it might take a couple of pumps in order for me to get. Oh, did you hear that? Fancy. All right, so we have some water on it. This just helps to make the paper a little bit more pliable, and it makes the impression better, okay? And then, I mean, if you got the water on it already, once you take it through the machine, it's going to be wet still. So if you wanted to add some like distressed ink or something like that to it, that would be kind of fun too. All right, so now we're back in action. Let's put that adapter plate on top and take this through. This is going to be my first time using, I'm going to do it this way now, using the Scout with a 3D embossing folder. So I'm just as excited as you are to see what will happen. So we push it through, the handle starts to give, okay? And again, first time, so I'm gonna put my thigh here and kind of work it through. Okay. Didn't take a lot, just needed a little nudge. And that one's a little bit more quiet. You heard a little crackling, but not much. All right. Let's see how this looks. Ooh! Wow, look at that. That is amazing. The water so makes a difference. It just makes the paper a little bit more like amenable to get this impression. Like, it's just amazing how deep this is. You can color this with marker. You can paint with watercolor. So many things you can do with this, but we're going to keep it simple for the purposes of demonstration today. I'm going to cut this down so we can use this part as a panel for the background of our card. Okay, so I cut it down and I just made two pieces out of it. I'm just not sure yet what I'm going to do, but I thought that I can actually cut this into a panel across the middle, almost like a belt. I like that. And might make a frame for it. I wanted to frame this, so I just cut two small strips of paper, and I can actually lay them out on the top and the bottom, so I'm not wasting paper. I'm probably going to pop this up with some foam tape too to give it a little bit more of a pop. I'm not sure yet, but I like how that looks because then it frames out the white and it just really makes it pop. Okay, so I have glued on the cute little flowers and the centers to the best wishes. So pretty. And I also glued down the two stripes that I mentioned of color that are going to serve as the border for the card panel. So I'm going to now pop this up in the middle using some foam tape. And I use this Alll foam tape, like, you know, religiously. So good. You can also use foam strips that we have in the shop. It's a little long. And you want to, because it's still a little curled, I am not going to flatten it out or anything on a book. Just make sure it's flattened when you put the tape down. That will maintain the shape. And you want to use a tape for this because that will then hold down the shape the way you want it, instead of like a glue, a liquid adhesive, which will hold it down, but like it'll just kind of flatten out the shape a little bit. This gives it a little bit more pop. And we want to fully appreciate this three-dimensional effect here. Put that in the middle. Right, and pop it up. Make sure you order your Scout as soon as possible. They're selling out. And again, the blue that we offer is an exclusive color. So you're not going to get that everywhere. You can't even get it from Spellbinders directly. So I love how they really make some fun things just for us little retailers. So now we can pop this up in the middle here. And because this has a whole bunch of stuff going on, there's a lot of intricate, thin cuts to this, I use my secret weapon, which is sticky dots. And if you haven't used these yet, again, these are an essential for your craft room. Basically what you do is you open this sheet up and you're going to feel it. You probably can't see it as well, but there's little tiny micro sticky dots, okay, on the surface. So all you do is take your die cut, press it down, kind of like a rub-on transfer. So you want to kind of rub it on, and this friction will actually pick up the sticky dots on the most intricate of letters or die cuts, whatever you have. Okay. So then when you open it up and peel it off, look at that. Can you see the glue? Okay, so this is all glued up and ready to go. You can make stickers out of things with this. Sticky dots are amazing. I'm just going to stick it on. And it's nice too because this is like a uneven surface. So you want to make sure you press it down so that it catches wherever. There you go. Now the only thing left to do is to glue this panel onto the card base. And there you have your card. So I hope you enjoyed this mini tutorial and that you're ready to get on board with the Scout. If you are brand new to die cutting, I hope you saw that this was so easy, non-threatening, piece of cake. And if I could do it, you can surely do it. Now, just so you know, Spellbinders has created a whole bunch of different dies to go with this. Oh, forgot the leaves. The leaves can be put on there too. I'll probably glue those later. Kind of add them as a little bit of color. A couple things you could do there. So fun things you could do. I'll finish this piece up. But Spellbinders has come out with a whole bunch of different dies. A lot of fun ones too. And the series is called Out and About with Scout. So if you want a sneak peek, I'm going to be in the studio over the next few days filming some things. But if you want a sneak peek as there's something fun coming your way, here it is. So cute. I mean, who can resist a Dalmatian on roller skates? I mean, come on. So that's your little sneaky peeky of what's to come with the Out and About with Scout set. There's also some pieces that are for the holidays. So get ready for that. Christmas in July, I'm just saying. So that will be something to look forward to in some upcoming videos. So I hope that you enjoyed this video today and that you are ready to get your Scout. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll be happy to address them. Thanks so much. Have a great day.